Spotlights glared down on me with unblinking accusation, their heat crawling over the collar of my starched blouse. In my right hand, my cello case's strap it into my palm with every pulse of my heart. In my left, I clutched a printed deck of slides so damp with sweat the pages tried to fuse together. Beyond the hot glare was a panel of investors, none of whom could seem to put down their phones long enough to register the presence of a musician on this echoing stage in downtown Los Angeles. I adjusted the mic. Its metallic taste flashed across my tongue as I breathed, "Thank you for having me. I'm Karis Dimitriou, founder of Resonance, a training program to help underprivileged children pursue classical music." A whispered cough from the far end of the row. That was Gabriella Kraus, angel investor, notorious for her impatience and Malibu beach house. She flipped open a notebook and tapped her pen soundlessly. The stage creaked beneath my feet. I continued, my voice trembling but steady. "I remember what it's like to need help, to feel unheard. But music can change that if you let a child's voice get past the noise." A voice, hard-edged and nasal, cut me off. "Excuse me, Karis, was it? Let's get to the point." A man with a hairline as thin as his smile set his elbows forward. "Statistically, classical music programs have never turned a profit in LA. What makes this, different?" I hesitated. My rehearsed answers scattered like dry leaves. I tried again, softer. "Access. Our city is filled with unused instruments, ignored talent. I believe, no, I know we can build a program that." Laughter, muffled but real from somewhere on my left. The humiliation pressed so close I could smell it. I inhaled, feeling my ribs shudder as I looked at the unreadable faces across the wide space. My eyes caught the time. 5 minutes gone. Not a single page turned. A man in a Ferragamo tie actually yawned. He said, "Let's not waste everyone's time. Classical music," he gestured with dismissive hands, "belongs in movies and rich people's living rooms, not in this city's startups." Another tried to soften the blow. "Nice story, but investing isn't about dreams. It's about reality." Next, they thanked me as if I were a UPS package delivered to the wrong address. I managed, somehow, to step off stage. I squared my shoulders, willed my face into a careful mask, and tried not to listen as my footsteps echoed loud, then quiet, then gone. The doors of the lobby mirrored back my face, still pale and taut around the eyes. I walked into the city air, suddenly silenced from within. Sun glared off the glass towers. I could already guess what awaited me at home. At dinner that weekend, the family table groaned under my grandmother's moussaka, but the tension was heavier. My father poked at his plate. The tap of his fork, tink, tink, was the only sound. "Aren't you eating?" my youngest sister prodded, eyebrows raised. I swallowed hard. "I'm fine, just tired." My uncle cleaned his glasses on the edge of his shirt. "So," he announced, "how'd your pitch go, Karis?" I tried to look casual. It wasn't a right fit. They thought the market wasn't interested in more cellos, huh? He winked, as if that settled everything. My mother's face pinched. She said nothing, but folded her napkin. "You could always try that coffee shop gig again." The neighbor, Mrs. Menendez, piped up, the aged lines around her lips curling. "Or wedding bands." "Classical, is there even a living in that?" someone muttered. My brother, home from college, cleared his throat. "Most people want something practical, Karis. LA isn't Vienna." "Even Vienna is overrun by broke musicians," said my father, not unkindly. "You play beautifully. Maybe just keep it as a passion." The implication landed in the middle of the table. The dream is foolish. Maybe you are too. No one looked at me as I finished eating in silence. Later, I crept to the porch, cello strap in hand, facing the bitter orange scent of the falling dusk. I let silence crowd my mind, pushing away the snickers, the interrupted sentences, the sting of words spoken to help. The air was cool on my cheeks. The city growled in the distance. The one thing I felt, aching and alive, was resolve. If all I was allowed was a single note, I would shape it into a symphony. The next 3 years blurred into an endless pendulum swing between hope and defeat. I worked odd jobs, accompanist for ballet class, studio session filler, even temp work at an accounting firm. Anything to buy another string or a tank of gas to get across town. I kept resonance alive with duct tape and determination, rented a church basement for lessons, collected battered violins through Craigslist, taught any child who knocked on the door. The waiting list grew. I saw in each face my younger self, hands trembling with longing for melody, terrified they'd be told, "Not for you." Every grant I wrote seemed to vanish into administrative purgatory. When the nonprofit's registration finally came through, it was bittersweet. The paperwork felt more like spins of the same hamster wheel. The city returned my calls, but not my proposals. My landlord was patient, but only barely. I got used to walking into the community center each Thursday, past the kids clustered on the peeling basketball court, their eyes wary but curious as I lugged the black case on my back. The ones who lingered, I welcomed. At night in the church basement, I peeled away the sticky old tape from a beginner's violin, taught a 6-year-old to bow instead of slap, let the music speak when my words failed me. One Friday, a knock brought in a girl named Amaya. She was tense as a wire, her smile fleeting as sunlight under clouds. "I want to play cello. I heard you let us borrow, for free." I nodded and unlocked the battered case. "You can take this home for the weekend. Keep it safe." She stared at me as if suspecting a trick. "Don't you want money or something? My dad says it's a scam." The silence between us held something gentle. "Amaya, I just want you to play. Let's start with a single note." Her hands, awkward, pressed down on the strings, screeching more than singing. Still, her posture straightened, her eyes shining with the effort. She didn't run away. I remembered that feeling, the tension of wanting, the fear of failing in front of someone you knew could break you with a word. Those lessons kept me alive. Most nights I fell asleep with my calluses burning, the discipline of years pressing in on my body. On weekends, I scrubbed tables in echoey downtown halls for a few dollars. Knowing the music I gave away never kept my stomach full, but made space in my heart that hunger could not crowd out. I stopped expecting anyone to believe in me. It was a private war doubt and silence and resolve, over and over, until resolve led each thought. It was Amaya's mother who first planted the seed for what changed everything. She brought coffee and pan dulce to rehearsal on a stormy March morning, setting the food down beside my stack of sheet music. Amaya, now 14, practiced Bach with a furrowed brow across the room. "Miss Karras," her mother murmured in Spanish-accented English, "I see what you do, how you teach." How she changes. "You have to let people see." I shook my head. Who would care about a handful of kids playing old music badly? But she was right. I took pictures, at first awkward, then more candid. A friend from church offered to film lesson snippets, children beaming, struggling, laughing, growing. I posted them clumsily online. An LA Times feature followed, a small column, then an interview. "Cello for the City, a musician's dream lifts LA youths." The headline embarrassed me. My mailbox overflowed with inquiries, congratulations, and shockingly, donations. Not enough to live on, but enough to buy new bows, another set of music stands. A retired producer in Glendale rang to offer us a slot performing at a youth program festival. My kids played St. Sands with trembling hands and hungry hearts. The reviews from the local press called us unexpected, a poignant reminder of music's magic. When the applause washed over us, I swallowed back tears, hardly able to read my own notes. Within months, resonance was full. The waiting list swelled. Local schools asked for help setting up their own workshops. I found I could stop scrubbing floors. I paid my own rent on time for the first time in 4 years. My family, back in our little house east of Koreatown, still measured my progress not by joy, but by paychecks. At Christmas dinner, my mother eyed my thrifted shoes and asked, "Should we help you with rent this month, Kukla?" I shook my head. "I'm all right, Mama." "You teach music," my uncle said, stuffing spanakopita into his mouth. "But when will you find a career?" The old doubt stung, but didn't pierce. I let the silence answer for me, smiled, thought of the children's faces under the dusty church basement lights. But when the community center's director called in late spring, voice barely containing excitement, I understood the turning point had finally arrived. "Karis, guess who just confirmed? Claudio Moretti, the maestro, the Philharmonic. He wants to hear your kids play. We're inviting the local council, the alumni, all the donors. This could put us on the map. No, I mean the map." When I hung up, my hands shook as I pressed the phone to my chest. The silence in my apartment was thick. But in the center of it floated a new kind of